Hey guys, it's Miss Deb. I just wanted to pop on and give you guys a hard gel demo that you could reflect back on and just watch maybe on campus while you're trying to do hard gel, or even if you wanted to practice at home, whatever the case may be, that's what we're gonna do. So just like any other artificial nail, we're going to push back our cuticles, lifting the trigenium up off the nail plate. You're going to remove the shine, right? And then you're going to dust it off. I like to use like a lint-free, or you could even use just a piece of a paper towel and just get the dust off the natural nail. Once you've done that, you want to make sure that you size your tip from sidewall to sidewall, ensuring that it fits. So, oops. So I'm just gonna do that from sidewall to sidewall. I could see that this tip fits. Let me just spray this a little bit. And then I will hear my tips and we could shape the tips together and everything. All right. All right, so we're just gonna trim the nail to whatever length you wanna do, whatever length your client wants. This is what you do. I'm gonna just taper this a little bit. So I'm gonna angle my tool in the direction that I want it to take. Oh man, I just broke that. Don't break your client's finger like I just broke mine. Let me let that dry and I'll come back to it. So again, I'm just going to trim the nail. And then I want to just taper the sides. So I'm just gonna barely taper the sides a little bit, holding my tool in the direction that I want the nail to take shape, just like you would your file. Just like that, trimming it up. And then you're going to take your file, and remember, you want whatever direction you want your nail to take shape, right? You want your file to mimic that direction. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start shaping on my sides, and I'm just gonna taper. And you could see the angle that my file is in because I want it to taper in. So I'm gonna hold it at this angle and this angle so that it will taper in. And then when you get to the tip, you wanna make sure that it's flat if you want it really square and sharp. If for any reason, maybe you don't want it sharp, you can angle your file just in a little bit and it will knock off these edges. It will kind of round out your shape a little bit. I actually prefer a little bit of a sharper nail. So we're just gonna do like just kind of like a tapered square here. This is not necessarily a coffin, but it is a tapered square. I just broke my nail tip again. All right. Maybe I'm not having good luck with these nail tips. That's all right though. We're just gonna keep pushing. All right. So I'm just gonna file in the direction that I want the nail to take shape. Like I said, we're just gonna do tapered square. And then you're gonna want to blend the natural nail and the artificial tip out where the smile line is. You want it flush. If you can do this and it snags, it's not flush. So you wanna make sure that let me move my gel so I don't get dust in it. You wanna make sure that you blend it out, knocking the shine off of the artificial nail. so that way it looks really nice and natural when you're completed. All right. And then I'm just going to take my alcohol, wipe it off. At this point, if your product line, that whatever you're using, requires a primer or maybe a gel base, like this particular gel base stuck on you. This is actually for a Sculpt brand, but it is a gel base that actually acts as a bonder. So some hard gels do have gel bases. Some of them just typically use primer. Whatever yours, suggests you to use, that's what I would suggest you to use at this point. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into our gel. So I have some blush here and I have some alcohol here. And so I'm just going to clean my gel brush. Okay. And the most important thing when you're dipping into your gel is that you don't dip and whip like you're scrambling eggs, right? You don't want to do that. You're going to create air pockets in your gel product. And when you apply it to the nail, what's going to happen is you're going to cure it and those air pockets will still be in there. And when you go to file it, you will actually file out air pockets, creating holes and little recession areas in the nail. And you don't want to do that because it's basically just creating more work for you because you're going to have to go back in and fill those holes in. So what you want to do is just barely dip in, get you a little scoop, and then you're going to rock back and forth. Make sure that you don't twirl your brush when it has like that little tail of gel because you'll just throw it everywhere. Okay. So I'm just going to start. I like to start in zone 3 when I do hard gel. That's just my preference. I feel like I like to get the cuticle on there and then just kind of work down the nail plate and the artificial nail. And I'm just using light as a feather strokes. I like personally circular movements. You typically should not pat like you would with acrylic. You really want to just use just the tip of your brush and just basically like just the tip in the corner of your brush because you don't need much pressure. So just kind of get it on there and then just swirl just with the tip. And you could even rock like maybe your motion side to side. Maybe you prefer that. That's fine too. I kind of prefer the little circular ring movements because I feel like I can control it a little bit better, I guess. Maybe it's just preference. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong if you do it the other way. Or if you've seen somebody else do it a different way. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. So now what we're looking at, we have our apex area. It's more flesh in the back by the cuticle area. It's thinner on the free edge. You want to make sure that you're finding balance from sidewall to sidewall and from cuticle to free edge, okay? Once you've found that, you could cure it. I would suggest that when you're curing it, and this is on a real person, not a mannequin finger or hand, that if it's a real person, I would suggest that you go in really slow, have them go in really slow, and maybe do like a 10-second flash cure. Because let's see, hard gel is fibrous. It has fibers in it. And because it has fibers in it, it heats up. It causes it to heat up. And when it heats up, it gets hot and it burns your client and it's so uncomfortable that it feels like there's a match on the nail. Also, if you apply your hard gel too thick, that could happen too, depending on what brand you're using. What else can I talk to you about why this is curing? Make sure that you keep your gel away from your lamp, your brush away from your lamp. I like to clean my brush before I even put my nail in there so that I don't have to worry about accidentally curing it. Brushes are your main tool, so you got to make sure that you take care of them. And then once it's done filing, we're gonna take the inhibition layer, which is that sticky, tacky layer that it leaves behind. It's almost like a tacky residue. We're gonna take like a lint-free or a paper towel with alcohol on it and just get that inhibition layer off. And that's it. It's really smooth. It's self-leveling. Hard gel, I like to say, allows you to work smarter, not harder, because it is so self-leveling, and it's quick. It's a quicker process to me than acrylics, in my opinion. It allows you to make more money, and you could charge more with hard gel. Okay, so then you're going to shape your nail. I prefer a finer grade file when I'm working with hard gel. You don't necessarily have to. That's a preference. You know, you're not going to have to file this nail a lot because it's so smooth already. So you're basically going to have to shape it, and then you can move on with whatever else you're doing with this particular nail. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that we're balanced. Just gonna wipe it a little bit. And you could see that super easy. It's a pretty nail and you're all set. Okay, let's do one more. All right, so again, we've already prepped this nail. We're gonna blend out this nail tip just with the file. Let me get some light in here. There we go. You're just gonna blend out the smile line. And then you could take off the dust using a lint-free or a paper towel or cotton or whatever you prefer with a little bit of alcohol. And then you could dehydrate and bond your nail before you apply your product. Just like any other artificial nail service, okay guys? All right. So at this point, I'm going to use some Dazzle Rocks. We have Dazzle Rocks at school. We have a whole bunch of stuff that you guys could play with. This is just fun. I'm just going to encapsulate a little bit. All I'm going to do is just use this same pink hard gel, and you'll see what happens. I'm just going to just barely dip in there without whipping it. Rock it out of the souffle cup that you're using, and you could just apply and you could paint this on because you're not looking for anything in particular like special with this portion of it, okay? You just want to apply it thin, kind of just like a polish. You can do this with gel base as well, what I'm about to do, but you don't have to. I'm gonna clean my brush, and then let me grab this. Is so pretty. Do you guys see that? It's called Dazzle Rocks. Tammy Taylor makes this. And all it is just, it's just like a chunky glitter, basically. So my brush is not wet. I'm just kind of tap it on there. And if I want some of the bigger pieces, I could just kind of place them where I want them. Just wherever you want, okay? It doesn't have to be anything in particular. It's your preference. This is your nail, however you want to do it. You could do it with different glitters. You don't even have to, you know, you could use all kinds of stuff in an encapsulated nail. All right. So then I'm just going to flash cure this just for like 10 seconds because it just needs to harden up enough that I could work and apply more hard gel to the top of it. It doesn't need to be 100% cured. You'll find that with hard gel, sometimes your nail will turn yellow, and that's just because the UV and the LED rays will get captured inside of your product. So, you know, you don't need to have it under there for, 2 or 3 minutes. You just want it in there for a second. Oops. All right. So again, I'm just gonna dip in here. Getting the product that I want to use. Only take what you could control. Everybody's gonna be different. You may need smaller amounts. Be mindful though that the thicker you apply hard gel, the hotter it could get too. So you wanna make sure that if you do take a one bead method type bead, that you really work it down the nails so that it's not extremely thick because it can get hot. I'm sure you guys have all experienced the heat from gel. And that's not fun. Just gonna take just a pinch more. And the great thing about gel is you literally use the tip of your brush and it goes where you put it. Now, if for any reason you get it on your sidewall area or like your cuticle area, the great thing about this is it's not gonna cure until you cure it. So if that does happen to you, it's really not that big of a deal unless you put it in the lamp. If you put it in the lamp, then you have a mess on your hands. But if you clean up before you put it in the lamp, you'll be in good shape. Clean my brush before I put my product in the lamp. Like I said, I'm real cautious when it comes to my brush because you know what? They're expensive and that's how you make your money. So like I said, if you have anything, just clean it up and then you could pop it into your gel lamp. All right. This is so pretty. And I'll show you guys what it looks like after I top coat it. I'll just shape it up real quick so that you guys could see. And then I'll top coat it for y'all. All right, so I'm just going to take the inhibition layer off. And then I will file the nail. Just gonna shape the nail, making sure that I ensure that I'm taking my file in the direction that I want my nail to go. And then I'm just gonna lightly file it. And then make sure that when you're filing, that you are keeping your file, like the filing movements, round. Your nail should be round. Anytime you are staying in one spot, you're putting a flat spot in the nail. And what's gonna happen is when you top coat it, you're going to see all those little imperfections from the file. So just make sure that you are keeping it round. and in the direction that you want your nail to take shape. All right. And then I'm just gonna wipe the dust off. And you could see, I don't know if you guys could see real well, but it's super pretty. I'll put some top coat on it so you guys could see. It's funny how top coat could bring a nail to life. You know, it just makes it so beautiful. Make sure you cap your ends. Again, if you get anything on your cuticle or sidewall area, you'd want to clean it up, but this is basically our encapsulated hard gel nail with our Dazzle rocks that we used. Super pretty. All right. If you guys have any questions, just email me on Canvas or on my work email, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.